You're checking in with the doctor for the greatest fantasy baseball podcast in the world, starring your hosts, Dr. Fantasy.
I'm ready to rock and roll today.
And Rydawg.
Harrison Masturbator.
Welcome to Doc and Dog, your fantasy baseball geniuses, presented by the Fantasyholics.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of our MLB mini-series. This is Doc and Dog, presented by the Fantasyholics. My name is Jordan Jaika, a.k.a. Dr. Fantasy. I'm here with my co-host, Rydawg, and we are in the middle of our new MLB mini-series where we are going through our pitcher rankings. In today's episode, we're going to have pitchers ranked 19th through 24, so we'll just dive right into it. Number 24 in our consensus rankings is Frankie Montes. I have him ranked 21st. You have him ranked 26th. Last season, before he was suspended, he had a 9-2 record, 96 innings pitched, 103 strikeouts, a 2.63 ERA, and a 1.11 WHIP. He looked like an absolute stud before he was suspended. And it was the first time that he's looked like an ace in his career. And that's one of the things that I would say if I had a concern, that's the only thing. But, he looked absolutely dominant before he got suspended. He's still young at 26 years old, so he still has upside there. But, based on what I saw last season, I have no problem with Montes as my second pitcher. And I think he really deserves that consideration right now. He's going right around pitcher 28 right now, so we have him a little higher than his ADP is. I'm not necessarily reaching on him, but I think he offers great value, and I like his upside.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like Montes a lot, and I think we kind of have an idea of, I have him ranked at 26. You have him ranked at 21st. So, I think we have kind of an idea of like where we want to take him exactly. I think we both view him as like a late back end 2 pitcher or early 3 pitcher, and that's going forward. I think that's a really, really good spot for someone that showed a ton of flash last year before he got suspended.
And then number 23 in our consensus rankings, Corey Kluber with the Rangers. I have him 24. You have him 22, so we're splitting the difference, and he's at 23 in our consensus rankings. Last year, he was 2-3, only pitched 35 innings, had 38 strikeouts, at a 5.8 ERA and a 1.65 WHIP. He's a guy for me that a lot of times guys with an injury history kind of worry me, especially for pitchers, and especially a guy that's getting a little older. But the thing with Kluber is before he got injured, he didn't look like a pitcher that was washed up yet. And that was the difference with other older guys that get injured, is I still think Kluber has some mileage left in the tank. I'm comfortable if he's my probably third pitcher. I have him ranked as the second starting pitcher, but I'd be very comfortable with him as my third pitcher in my rotation. But I still think he has upside. I still think he has that K ability. It's just a matter of staying healthy. And if you get him in that 38th pitcher off the board range, I think he offers some value there.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It's strange. He pitched only 5 games last year. And then he got hurt. And then the year before that, I believe he was the Cy Young, or he was a Cy Young candidate. So it doesn't add up to me. And it typically, he's not going to fade away that easy, because he hit his prime. He hit his best years in his early 30s. I believe he hit his prime years at age 30, where he starts to really show his true potential. I think there's plenty more in the tank for Kluber, and I think we'll see it. I think a fresh start with a new team, I think it's going to do him well.
Yep, for sure. Then number 22 on our rankings is your boy Otani. I have him ranked 30th. You have him ranked 16th. He is our 22nd ranked pitcher. No pitching stats to talk about, as he didn't pitch last season. He was just a hitter for him. Yeah, we were talking about this before we started recording, my biggest issue with him is in a full season, I only think he would pitch around 130 or so innings. Now, if they let him go through the rotation 1 through 5 like a regular pitcher, plus he gets his DH stats, I would probably have him closer to that 16 range that you have him. I like him even more if you play in a format where if you draft him once, you get him as a hitter and a pitcher. I mean, that offers even more value if you're getting a guy that can hit 30 home runs and a guy, even if it's 130, top end second pitcher numbers, there's a lot of value there. But the biggest reason I have him ranked more as a pitcher 3 is just because I don't know how often he's going to get to go through the rotation if they manage his innings, because he's a very valuable player. And to have him pitch every 5 days, bat every 4 days, that's a ton. And we haven't seen it before. And it's very possible that he is just a special talent that has that ability. But I hold off on my optimism until I see it happen. But he does have the ability.
And I guess I should make my case for why I have him as 16th. I mean, the Angels really didn't go out and get, and I talked about this before we started recording, they didn't go out and get anybody special. They got Dylan Bundy, who was a highly scouted prospect at one point in his career. And outside of Dylan Bundy, I mean, they have Andrew Haney. And those aren't guys that are ace names. I think you almost have to pitch Otani at least 160, 180 innings. You're going to have to give him innings. And he put, as we saw, I saw a picture of him posted on social media a couple months ago. The guy looks absolutely jacked. In a way, it could mess with your mechanics, or it could help him boost his elbow from Tommy John as well to gain him all muscle. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm definitely confident taking him as my second pitcher. He's a special talent, and he came overseas from Japan to play in the MLB specifically because of his pitching. His hitting was just a bonus. And I think people forget that since he didn't pitch at all since he first came into the league. So I think we haven't seen the best from Otani yet, and it's going to come.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt in my mind. He is fun to watch, and it's just fun to monitor because, I mean, we've really never seen a guy who's this talented pitching and hitting, I don't know the last time we saw a guy like this. So it's a really unique. I look forward to see how he does throughout the course of his career.
For sure. It's great for the game of baseball. In 2018, when he did pitch, he pitched a couple games. He had a low 3 ERA. I believe he had a higher K9. He had more strikeouts than innings pitched. So I think if you gave him the full workload of 150, 180 guy, I think in 175, 180 innings pitched, he would definitely eclipse over 200 strikeouts.
Yeah. And then we'll move on to number 21 in our rankings, Charlie Morton. He is, as I said, the 21st in our consensus rankings. I have him ranked 19th. You have him ranked 25th. Last season, he had a 16-6 record, 194 innings pitched, 240 strikeouts, which I don't think most people realize, 3.05 ERA, a 1.08 whip. Really fantastic numbers last season. I'm very confident in having him as my pitcher or second pitcher in my rotation. 240 strikeouts is impressive, and he's once again one of those guys. He's beyond that 27 to 31 year range that I mentioned earlier, but he's a guy that put it together later in his career. He's already kind of said that this is probably going to be his last season, so I really expect him to have a really strong season riding it out. And he's one of those guys, the only thing going against him is his age, and based on his metrics last year, he was really good, so I don't even know if that's a knock against him. So I'm really confident with him as my second pitcher. Only reason I don't have him higher for me personally is just because I don't think he offers upside. I think we've already seen the best of what he can be, and I like targeting upside guys. So I'm very confident with him as my second pitcher, but nothing really beyond that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And you said it's his last year for him, so people in Keeper and Dynasty would have to take that very, very, very cautiously. But we're doing redraft, luckily for us. So I would think pitcher 3, pitcher 2 is definitely ideal. And like you said, his age kind of capped his ceiling, basically. So I would take him as my pitcher 3 all day in any redraft league.
The number 20 in our rankings is Brandon Woodruff. I have him 20th. You have him 23rd. Last season, he was 11-3, only 121 innings pitched, 143 strikeouts, 3.62 ERA, and a 1.14 whip. Very solid numbers for those 120 innings. I have him as kind of a mid-range pitcher too. And he's a guy kind of on the opposite end of Morton, and the reason I have him ranked right around Morton is he's still in that range where he has a ton of upside. He's just starting to put it together, and I think given a full season, he's the kind of guy that could get you over 200 strikeouts, maybe a 3.3, 3.4 ERA, a very solid whip. So, and even more, because like I've previously mentioned, I think he's in that age range where he can offer more upside. So I like him as kind of a mid-range-ish back-end second pitcher.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would like him as my back-end second pitcher as well. We're starting to climb into our rankings where we're going to start taking guys as a pitcher 2 or a low pitcher 2, high pitcher 3. So I think that's around the range I would take him at. Pitcher 2, pitcher 3.
Then the last player for this episode, number 19 overall, Darvish. I have him 18, you have him 20, so we split the difference, and he's at 19. Last season, he was 6-8, had 178 innings pitched, 229 strikeouts, a 3.98 ERA, and a 1.1 WHIP. He's a guy, he's going to be the Cubs ace this season. That 6-8 record isn't lovely from last year, but if he's healthy, he's a guy that I think has top 10 pitcher ability. But it's once again, I think it drops him down a few notches because it's a big if he stays healthy. But he's a guy that's going to get you in a full season right around 220, 230 strikeouts. If he can bring that ERA down to the low threes, he would be a out of this park number one pitcher in my opinion. But based on that mid 3 to high 3 ERA range, I think this is a fair price for him.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think his season last year was kind of fluky because it was only he only performed at the elite stats in the second half of the year. At the beginning of the year last year, he was definitely very, very, very shaky, and I think it took him a while to finally reach his potential. I remember him when he came over from Japan to play with Texas. He was supposed to be like the next big thing, and we've been waiting for about 5 or so years now. I have to see a full season before I'm ready to make anything set from him, but I hope he finally turned it around for sure. And I think pitcher 2, pitcher 3 is ideal where he should take him.
So that's all that we have for this episode. Those were our starting pitcher rankings, number 19 to 24, and we will be doing 13 to 18 next episode. So make sure you tune in for that. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in to Doc and Dog, presented by the Fantasy Holics. If you don't already, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the Fantasy Holics YouTube channel, and check out our new website at thefantasyholics.com. So we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.